we found within us, hidden in poses and deep breaths waiting to be noticed, despite it all. Despite the reason that is often filled with doubt, the spirit leads towards the light, holding on cut strength even when it feels uncertain. Uncertainty is often within us, despite it all. Despite the moments of wanting to give up, there is a push to keep going, rising in the simplest of the ways, step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment, minute by minute, and each day, despite it all. Despite that everything feels unclear, life continues to unfold, gently holding both the struggle and the beauty of it all. Despite it all, we keep going. Keep going. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Despite all that, that is resilience. That's a poem of resilience, and we've got to keep going. Yes, it said it's darker before dawn, and sometimes people are nearing a collapse, nearing giving up. Actually, next week, this week on Sunday will be 10th of May, usually a day for mental health. On Monday, we'll be having something also to do with mental health. But I think resilience is a great thing for each and every one of us. Whatever it takes, keep going, keep pressing on, and find a reason to be happy tomorrow. Find a reason to look forward with hope, because that is what keeps everyone, including people in the war zones, alive and happy and able to smile. And so I don't know who was supposed to be introducing the guest. Is it Cynthia?
Yes.
Yes, kindly take your time.
Cynthia, go ahead.
Thank you, Fifi. That's a good one, I guess. All right. I'm honored today to introduce our speaker. He's a seasoned agronomist and entrepreneur with over 30 years of leadership experience in the crop protection industry. He holds a master's degree in entrepreneurship from JQuat and a bachelor's degree in horticulture from Egerton University. Over the years, he has held senior roles at global firms such as Syngenta and Arista Life Science. Currently, he's the founder and CEO of Hyper Kenya Limited, a Thika-based company that provides strategic agro inputs and specialized services to farmers across all scales. He's a passionate advocate for good agricultural practices, GAP, with a strong focus on bridging technological gaps and introducing modern innovation in agriculture. Beyond his professional work, he is a dedicated mentor, a youth pastor, and an active Rotarian. As a hands-on farmer, he remains deeply committed to community service and to empowering the next generation of agricultural leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, Power Monday team, please help me welcome Mr. Anthony N. Mugo. Karibu sana, Mr. Mugo.
Asante sana.
And he's the
Thank you,
president-elect of their club.
That was good. Good morning, Power Mondays, Mondays members. My name is Anthony Mugo, as we have heard. I'm based in Thika, and I'm very passionate about agriculture. And today we are going to look at agriculture in the perspective of food, and we are going to share. I'm going to have a presentation there. So today we are going to look at food sovereignty, and agriculture opportunities, and mastering your plate. So mostly we are going to look at what opportunities are there in agriculture, and what challenges we are facing with our food. So I'm going to go through the first. When we talk about food sovereignty, it is the right of people to define their own food and their agriculture systems. African countries came together in Mali, and they looked at food. Uh, Africa is the biggest area for agriculture, has the biggest potential for agriculture, but we still depend on imported food from other countries. And when we had the war in Ukraine, we had a big problem of getting food, especially wheat. So we need to come together as Africans and also as a people to see that we get food. So food sovereignty, it covers several areas. It is a right. It's not. It now becomes a right for people to get healthy food and also culturally appropriate food. Many of us have adopted foods from other uh, cultures, and we have abandoned our African food culture, and then we get lost. Like especially our children and the young generations, some of them do not like the traditional foods we have, ugali, ideri, all those, and it's a big problem that we are facing, that we have food, but people are getting hungry because it's not the appropriate food. The other thing is due to production. We look at sovereignty of food in areas of production. How are we producing our food? Is it ecologically sound? Does it make our environment work well for us? Are they sustainable methods? Can we produce food throughout the year? Is it, and how does it define our food? What is the collective food that we have? And also, how are we caring about our systems, especially ecological? If we look back, agriculture, we used to have what we call shifting. You plow here, next year you don't plow it, you go to a new field, and then you'll come back after many years, so that the land could be able to bring back the nutrients that it required. But today we don't have the that advantage of moving from one area to another because of the rad pressure. So food systems, we need to look them as a right for people, that they get healthy food, they get culturally appropriate food, and then the way it's produced. Is it sound ecologically? Is it sustainable methods? Is it how do we define our food systems? And that is the area that we are going to look. So in comparison, uh, today we are going to look at a few things, because many times, most of the time, we hear about food security, and we need to differentiate between food security and food sovereignty. The main goal of food security is to ensure everyone has enough calories. If you look at, especially when you have drought, we get a lot of food from the government, but it makes sure that we have enough calories. It might be rice, it might be maize, it might be unga, but it's just to keep people learning. But when we talk about food sovereignty, we need people control what food they want to have. So ensuring people have control over the food, so that we can be able to reach out everyone and people are taking the appropriate food. Then for food security, when we focus about access to food only. Where it comes from, it doesn't matter. So we buy food from Mexico. Another time we had buying food from Mexico. We buy from US. You buy from Ukraine. You get food from anywhere. So it doesn't matter. But for food sovereignty, we look at how and where the food is being produced. Are we able to sustain ourselves? A country like a country cannot grow when it is not able to feed itself. So we need to know, to work on how and where our food is being produced. Then for food security, the trade, it promotes free trade and global imports. So food is determined by the prices of food is determined by the global trade. So it's about maize from Mexico. How much is it costing? Maize, wheat from Ukraine, and all these things. Then we have no control because mostly we are importing. Then for food sovereignty, it prioritizes local and regional markets. We are talking about East African community. We should get our maize from Uganda, Tanzania, our beans from within the region, so that the food is available and also it's not very costly for us. Then who holds the power about in food security? The government and corporations and the traders. And in Kenya, mainly we get a lot of what we call people who are brokers in between the government and the people. So those are the people who define the system, how we are going to get the food, what kind of quantity. Sometimes a few years ago, we had sugar which was contaminated. We couldn't control anything. We are told it is contaminated, but nobody saw that sugar being destroyed. So those are the things that are there. But when we have food sovereignty, the farmers and consumers define the system. We exchange our goods. Like in the old times, we used to do barter trade. People with sugarcane, they could trade for maize, they could trade for fish, they could trade for different kinds of food. So the farmers and consumers define the system. And for today, the food sovereignty has become a major talking point. And I would like participants to see whether they can recognize any the food they eat from what we have on the plates around that are in the pictures. So you can recognize the kind of food that we have. We have ugali, fish, we have our getheri, we have our mokimo, we have matoke. So those are the foods that we are talking about. So when we talk about food sovereignty, we talk about food that uh, when they are grown, they are climate resilience. They diverse local food systems very resilient to climate shocks than industrial monocultures like tea and coffee. And you have heard those industrial crops, they are facing challenges. Coffee, we have many diseases which are attacking. Tea, there are issues. So they often are attacked by the weather. The weather defines how they are produced. And also they are using a lot of water. Like coffee, we do a lot of irrigation. So we are also tapping on our natural resources in a big way. So, but when we look at local production, our doma, those who are going doma, or those who are going bananas, you will rarely hear people, they are going to spray their bananas, they are going to spray their doma. So those are the areas. So the other thing is that they enable farmers to have economic independence. So the farmer, it protects the small farmers from the big agriculture farms and also the fluctuating global commodity of prices. Like now, I would like to talk about coffee, which I'm very conversant with. The prices, the production of Brazil affects the prices of coffee even here in Kenya. If they produce more, the prices are lower for Kenya. If they're not producing enough, the prices become good. So there have been a cyclic production, prices increase due to the weather patterns in Brazil. And they have the high production, our coffee prices have the lowest price. But when it increases, when there is low production, the prices are very good. If you look at sugarcane in a western zone, uh, the sugarcane, the sugar industry is determined, the prices are determined by what is being imported. We hear Sudan with their irrigation schemes, they have very cheap sugar from the sugarcane they grow and from other areas. And also the tea is affected by many other things that are affecting the world. Like now the prices of tea are very low due to the Middle East war. So those are the things that we do. If you look an example of a growing crop, which is avocado, which is grown in mainly started in Central Province, like Kadara, which is in Moranga, which is one of the areas that highest production, about 10 to 15% of the national output comes from Kadara, from small growers. But we have big multinationals like Kakuzi, who are doing more than 3,000 hectares, 3,000 acres of avocados. So you see, if the prices, the multinationals will take priority in exporting their avocados and leaving out the small growers not getting the right prices. So those are the things that we look at. So in essence, when we look at food sovereignty, we need also to see the small farmers getting economic independence. Then our food defines our culture. If you look at the pictures we have of the food we have, it is very easy to identify where you come from, and also it ensures that the traditional diets do not disappear. The traditional food do not disappear, and actually they are more healthier, and they bring communities together. If we eat mukimo together with you, or getheri, or doma, or fish, it is a very is very culturally and integrating us. If you look at our traditional food like mulsik, which is from the Karajan community, alia, I once enjoyed alia in it's called where ahero, and it was a very good dried meat in the lurad, and it is disappearing. Then we have matoke from Kisi, Mokimo. It defines us. We have our traditional vegetables, which uh, the the they are coming up very well, especially like managu, terera, osuga. Those traditional foods in the market, they are fetching very good prices. They grow very fast, and also they don't need a lot of care. It's You don't need to put chemicals, you don't need to put, it's only you put natural manure, and the crop grows very well. So we have also our indigenous fruits, the guavas, the berries out in the forest, indigenous mangoes. I've never seen anybody spray an indigenous mango, but if you look at the mangoes we have, the Kent, the apples, these big ones, you find that they use a lot of chemicals, they need a lot of care, but our traditional mangoes, they don't need much in production. So there are several agriculture opportunities that are available in food production, in food sovereignty, because these opportunities empower our local communities to control their food systems. People will be growing their traditional foods. They will be growing their bananas. They will be growing their doma. They will be growing their sweet potatoes. Those foods, they empower local communities. And the prices of those foods, if you go to local hotels, if you ask for a doma for breakfast, it's very expensive. So if the farmer back at home will get more money from that. And then it reduces dependency on imports. We are always importing rice. Like now, we import more than 90% of the rice we eat in this country, despite we have several irrigation schemes, despite putting a lot of money in establishing the irrigation schemes. So we need to look at our local food, so that we can be able to reduce the dependency on imports, so that we can save our money. The other thing is foster sustainable and local production. What we have seen with traditional foods, the when you plant them, the soil is not exploited. You don't use a lot of chemical or chemical fertilizers. So in the local production, we'll find that many things where we can have a great advantage over the traditional crops that we are growing. The key opportunities involve in value addition, climate smart agriculture, and localized distribution networks. So as a people, we need to look at how to produce them in a way that it will reach the market. So, and also we need to look at how we can add our products so that the income is more, especially on various crops. So agriculture opportunities that we have is one is value addition and agro processing. If you look at the first picture up there, is about coffee. We have coffee in the tree, cherry, then the beans, and then we have local people who are able to sort, grade, and also roast, and they are packed in a container. A farmer who grows cherry, he will get about one. Like now, the prices are very good. They are getting between 100 and 150. But when we look at the end product, half a quarter of a kilo of coffee, roasted coffee and grounded, it costs about almost 1,000. So you can see the difference between 150 and 1,000 to the end product. So we should encourage more of value addition. If we look at the mangoes, we lose a lot of mangoes due to high production because they come at one time. But if we are able to dry them, the mangoes, we dry them and we pack them. I have been involved in production of dried mangoes for sweet tunda because they have been my customers. Actually, they export their dried mangoes to US, and they are supplying even military, US military, with the dried mangoes. So the value addition is very big, and the farmers can get more money. If you look at tea from the farm up to the value added can taper have what we call flavored teas. So we need to look at what we can do. Banana is the same. You get banana crisps. So from the farm to the end user, the price may increase. And we can encourage what we call household or domestic industries. In Kisi, we establish banana drying. We establish mango drying in Ukambani, where we have a lot of mango production. We can introduce coffee roasting in central Kenya and western Kenya, where there is a lot of coffee, so that the farmer can get the total benefit. So if you look at that, it will add as value. That is an opportunity. Tomatoes, sometimes we have a lot of production, and we are still importing tomato sauce from China and other countries like India. The fruit drying, that's what we have done about mangoes. We can do pineapples, we can do bananas, and we can create snacks. Instead of our children eating crisps, potato crisps, we can recommend them they eat mango crisps or banana crisps, and that is very healthy for them. Then we have like cocoa. We have seen where they are producing cocoa. We do that, and also roasting coffee. Those are the areas that's a big opportunity for us, for small industries to be established in rural areas so that they can add value. The second one is sustainable production and focus on farming methods that are resilient and rely on local resources. So we have our local production where we have small plots, especially for most of us in urban areas. We can do vertical gardens. We can do the bags, and we can produce even mushroom from very small areas. We can layer a few of kienyeji cuckoos in our compounds so that we can have eggs, locally produced eggs for our domestic use. For those in areas where there is fish, they can do the bigger areas. They can do what we call farming of fish. They can use containers. For those who have idle land out there in the rural areas, you can do beekeeping. It doesn't require much. It's only the hives, and then you do a bit of security so that every year you'll be harvesting like twice, and you'll get a lot of money. So those are the areas that we can go and do the production. So we have fish farming, beekeeping, mushroom, There are so many areas that we can do, even the local vegetables for you and even for the immediate neighbors, you can sell to them. Things like mushroom are very nutritious and they are not very difficult to grow. You only need a small house and you can keep them in production. So those are the areas that for sustainable production, they don't require much. Then we have local input supply, and that is where in the area I am in, I'm looking at producing of organic fertilizers and composts. We have a lot of waste from our markets. If it is well decomposted, it can produce a lot of manure that can be put back to the farms. We have also farming of what we call black soldier fly. Both black soldier fly, they are very critical in their larva produces a lot of protein, and that is very easy to grow them because they use domestic waste. Those vegetable pieces, they eat that. And then you can produce those larvae, you can feed your chicken, you can have a cycle, they can feed your chicken. Whatever else remains, you can put in your kitchen garden as manure. So that's a way. The other area is seed propagation. We have seen farmers moving away from putting up nurseries because of seeds are becoming very expensive. So you need more of a technology that will help you save your seeds, grow better seeds, and then you start with a good crop. So those are the areas that we can do. You supply certified seeds, you get indigenous or adapted seeds for local production, and you can share out with the farmers. Those are one of the areas that we look at. Then the other one is digitization. Is bridging the gap between rural producers and urban consumers. As you can see from the local market, that is how we do it. Transportation, how do we transport our foods? And this is a big problem because we lose a lot of food due to post-harvest damages. We lose a lot of bananas, cabbages, they are thrown because more than 50% of what farmers produce reaches the market in a good way that is able to be sold. So we'll see how we can look at areas that we can invest in logistics and also reaching out to the farmers. Cold chain, refrigeration, we have solar refrigerators that we can keep in our rural areas to help the farmers, especially when we have high production, so that we can have a market that is stable. So the other thing is agriculture tech platforms. I've seen very many of them in coming now from the Gen Zs and other tech people. That is an area that we need to look at how we can reach the farmers through the technology. And then the distribution services, we can invest in distribution, especially providing transport. Although the issue is we need our government to do the rural roads so that they can able to move food. So the other services that we can do is agro-consulting, mainly on training and educating farmers through technology. We have mobile apps. We can see that mama, he can speak over the phone, he can get the message, she can know what is happening in the market and what is moving in the market. So there is a lot of agriculture training that is required. Most of us are, especially when we come to retirement, you remember your rural farm. You want to go there and farm and put up a vegetable farm. But unfortunately, many of us do not take time to uh, to understand what is farming. Farming is both an art and a science. And when it becomes a science, you need to understand really what is your soil, how does it support your crops, what is required in your soil so that you can produce enough. Like now, if I give an example from my area in Kiambu, the average production of maize per acre is about 3 to 5 bags per acre. But the potential of the hybrid maize that we get from Kenya Seed is about 40 bags. So if we produce 3 from a potential of 40 or 4, that is less than even 10%. So we are actually losing on what gains we have had from good seed research, from the money used by the scientists to research on good crops, on various seeds and also different crops. So we need to understand that farming is not just putting seed on the soil. It requires knowledge. It requires for you to understand the market. Where are you targeting? Where are you going to sell your crops? When should you sell that crop? And is it able to be stored or is it perishable? If it's perishable, you need to get a market direct. So that is why we need to do a lot of training to farmers so that we can have sustainable farming. I remember during the COVID time, many people went out to farming. That's one time that agriculture was a key activity in all areas. And I remember many of those who went to the farming during that time, most of them regret and say they can't go back to farming because they just went, they bought seeds, they planted, they didn't care. What they looked for is farm herds. So a farm hand is not educated. You just give you the manpower to grow crops, but he'll not give you the real production. So as farmers, if you are going to go to farming, please study about what you want to grow, what is the market. As OPP says, you need to know your customers. And that way, you'll be able to grow crops that have sustainable practices. Remember also to learn on different tools and kinds of farming that are available. If you are going to do the organic way, you need to target a market in organic because that is a prime market that you need to do that. So also we have the opportunities in agriculture equipment leasing. It's coming out now, especially where farms can be mechanized, small tractors. We have working tractors, we have big tractors, and you can lease out to farmers during the season. You can move to different areas. And I've seen that especially with the wheat growers. We have seen machinery moving from Narok to Timao to Eldoret during the seasons. So it's an opportunity that you can develop. So with that, we can be able to educate our farmers. We can do consulting, we can do education, we can lease out machinery. So what does it mean when we have sustainable food production? What are we looking at? We are looking at nutrient-dense, diverse food systems to improve health. Nutrient-dense foods. Which are these? They are like fruits that we do, the guavas, the fruits we can grow near our compounds, the passion fruits. You can put even very small fruits like strawberry. They have nutrients that will improve our children's health and also others. Then agriculture practices that shape food safety. That is, we need to reduce the use of chemicals. I mean, I've been in the chemical industry, but over years, many farmers have come to depend on chemicals alone. And it's unfortunate some of these chemicals are not very safe. You need to use them properly. You need to use them judicially. You need to use what we call integrated pest management. What does that mean with integrated pest management? It's where you go to your farm. You know what is affecting your crop. You need to do what we call crop walk. Every day, you need to see your crop, how it's growing. what is there. You do scouting of the diseases and pests. From there, you can decide what kind of intervention you'll do. Is it physical? Is it chemical? Is it biological? So that you can reduce the use of chemicals. So we need to be judicious in our use of chemicals. There are chemicals which are biological. They come from a plant like pyrethrum extract. Those are easy to use. Even some of them are safe to use, like the way you use Doom in our houses. So it's the same thing. We also need to look at their products from neem, which are of quality and they do good control. We can use those ones. So we need to look before we go to those harsh chemicals that affect us. And even when you are using the chemicals, how safe are you? Are you protecting yourself from the chemicals? Do you use the PPI, the protection clothes, the protection gadgets? Are you using them? And when you spray, how long do, do you take to harvest that food? I've seen some farmers spray chemicals today, and the chemical says you need to harvest after 7 days, but they harvest the following day and send it to the market. What does that? How does that affect us? It affects us a lot because what you are doing, you are giving your customers chemicals. And who are your customers? Your customers might be your brother or sister. What will happen is he'll get sick, and what he comes back and he looks for money for treatment. You are the ones who are going to do the harambe or something else. So those are the kinds of things. It's cyclic. When you don't use safety on food, it is a big problem. Then we look at the poor health of agriculture communities, where we have farmers, they use chemicals, their health goes down, and then we have a problem now because the production becomes lower. Many of the rural areas, the young people have shifted. They don't want to do agriculture. They see like it's a slavery. They don't want to work on the farms because they see the kind of production is there and the kind of income comes. It's very low and they are not interested. So we need to look at those areas and especially on the health of our farmers in use of especially the agrochemicals. Then the last one is biodiversity and nutrient quality. So lower nutrient density leads to micronutrient deficiencies. Biodiversity of the crops you are growing. There are different crops with different kind of nutrients. You have carrots, they give carotene, some vitamins. We have fruits giving some vitamins. We have crops that give zinc. And that is why we have seen increasingly many of those companies that sell products that help in providing micronutrients, especially iron, zinc, calcium. And we have seen many in the chemist, those products are becoming very popular. Instead, these things should be getting them from crops, from the crops we grow. And the crops we grow, they get them from the soil. So if our soil is deficient of nutrients like iron or zinc, then that means even the fruit or the leaf or whatever you are eating coming from that plant is deficient of iron. And then whoever is eating will not have enough iron. So it is a cyclic. So we need to look at that in our way of our growth. So in nutshell, our food for food sovereignty is about everything we do about food, from the soil to the plate. In between what we do, how we add value, all those things will help us reach out to our farmers and increase. And I wish to stop there and thank you very much.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. This is a topic that I've just removed the sharing. This is a topic that I think is very critical. Makes me feel like we need it every day. Like we need it every Monday. Yeah, it affects each and every one of us. We eat every day, multiple times. I especially loved that image where you had the ndoma, the fish, or a matoke. I felt like I need to just see it, or that. And Mugo, you can also put your contacts in the chat so
Yeah.
people can reach out. I know there are lots of questions that run into people's minds, and we may not necessarily get all the time for that, but I know you can answer some of them, and some you will answer probably after we close the session. I saw the first question here was from Hesbon. This topic about food system is very critical to us. Beyond food sovereignty, how do we address the issue of food safety, safe from harmful chemicals? You've touched on that. I think you've touched on even after how many days should we harvest, and how does that affect us? Enough times, farmers or the crop producers think that they are just cashing on money, on immediate cash, but they do not see that the person you're selling to, you do not know all your relatives. Yes, maybe that is your in-law, and the following day, you people are the same ones fundraising and talking about funerals. So through greed, we've been able to contribute to that harmful environment as far as food production is concerned. I don't know what you may want to add on to that.
I think as a country, we need to look at about food safety in a big way, not only on chemicals, also on handling, where we put in the market. Mama mbogas, they need to be trained on handling food, especially they put it on the ground. And you see there are a lot of microbacteria and all those things. E. coli, they can be multiplied. So those are the issues that we need to look at so that we can have. We are looking at what the government is doing about markets. Yes, it's very good. They need to put modern markets that will be able to get, when you go to the market, you are sure what you are buying is safe. That is why some of us go to supermarkets to get food from the shelves. But as we do that, also there are other economic areas. So both chemical and also sanitation wise, we need to look at that. So, and also where we are growing. We have seen many people growing in the areas of Ruai using sewerage water. All those things are very dangerous. I have seen some research being done by scientists to even to identify the crops and what kind of chemicals they have. So it's a wake-up call for us that we need to be careful. On the side of chemicals, we are trying to train farmers how to use the product safely, but it's on us as a country to look at the chemicals which are not safe for us. We remove them. Last year we had about 60 or so products moved out, but still we have others coming through the Panya route from Tanzania and other countries that are not very good. So it's not a one day win, but it's a continuous working towards better food systems.
Thank you very much. And of course, we do not mean that, I'm just saying, we do not mean that things coming from Tanzania or Uganda or coming to Kenya are any bad. We have all those people. We mean that people are using different routes to bring them to different countries, including even Rwanda or Tanzania itself. They could be getting other very bad chemicals and things like that. As Africans, we need to be vigilant. I see Monica here commented that those foods look yummy. Monica works with farmers. She's become a big person in this. They look yummy. We have lots of plantain in Kenya, especially in Murang'a and other counties. Yeah, Antonia said you did not include nyoka in your food, in
Yeah,
your photos.
examples.
Because it is
Wala, why is
during
orare?
the Power Monday.
Yes.
Okay. Esbon asked again, how do we deal with overstretched soils which no longer hold nutrients? I have personally devised a way of converting and enriching sawdust into soilless planting media, which you can use for the balcony herbal gardens so that you don't have to use soil. Now, how do we deal with overstretched soil? I know that one is an area that you always address and are passionate about.
Yeah, the first thing for soils is you need to do soil analysis to know what your crop is, what your soil is missing. From there, you'll form a basis of what you can use. We need to add a lot of organic matter. The leaves from the trees in the farm, don't burn them. Whatever remains after you harvest, compost them, make them manure so that you can return it to the crop, to the farm. Because the crop has already extracted those nutrients, then we need them to come. If you are able to get manure from animals, it's very good. That one will help you a lot. Occasionally do that. If the soils, according to the recommendation, you can do liming with the lime, which is natural, so that you can have your pH at the collect, so that nutrients are available. There are so many things you can do with the soil, but most important is the kind of crops you have. Do rotational crop, do different kind of crops so that your soil is not depleted. We are looking at monocropping, which is not very good. So we need to do a lot of rotation. Also mix crops, do cover crops like beans, like uh, uh, like sweet potatoes. They cover the soil so that the soil is not degraded. Remember also to conserve your soil so that it's not taken by water. So you do your trenches, do your cover crops, and that will help a lot in that area.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And as I mentioned, these sessions are sponsored by Falcon Insight Global Consulting Limited, brought to you through Live Your Dream Enterprises Limited, that works with businesses and providing business development services, and also ICT gurus that puts your businesses online. And we thank those organizations. I think at this moment, before we move on, I'd like to invite Maurice for a vote of thanks as he's coming in. Also, just remind you that recently there have been changes in WhatsApp broadcast, and so we are not able to remind you people when the session is starting or what is upcoming. Just follow on the WhatsApp channel and in the WhatsApp group. We created the WhatsApp community, that is the announcement channel, so that it's not mixed up and we keep posting there. So you must set up your own alarm. Yes. Maurice, I hope you're there.
So I would like to take this chance to thank so much our speaker this morning, Mugo Anthony. You have really shared with us very crucial information about food sovereignty, food security. And I think the bottom line is securing between profit and health, because there are some, you mentioned about culturally relevant food, accepted food, and that one which is nutritious. And then at the same time, the issue of profit. I liked your concern or alarm that in some places people can get only 3 or 4 bags of maize from 1 acre. And if you do smart agriculture, you can get even up to 25, 40, etc. So here, I think the challenge is how do you balance between growing those traditional or the breeds that we had, which are very nutritious but not produce very large amounts, but also embracing new technology, which gives you large amounts and you know, like safe. The whole issue about safety I remember you also mentioned about things like pyrethrum. When we were young, I remember this was being said so many, many times. I don't know to which extent pyrethrum is being used nowadays for insecticides and other things. But the message here is let's embrace agriculture, smart agriculture, and we do it with intention. I remember you mentioned some people, the suffering people, those who got into COVID. During COVID time, they got into agriculture just for the sake of it, and some of them faced a lot of losses. So, Mugo, you've really touched a lot of things, and which I know has really encouraged many people to learn more about smart agriculture. So thank you so much for being there. And thank you so much, all the participants, for being patient to listen to this very, very important conversation. And I'm sure that it has really impacted on you. I would also like to take this thanks to thank Otieno Paul Peter and the whole team behind Power Monday, the Live Your Dream Network, the ICT gurus for bringing this to us. I would like to mention in a special way Lady Noel, Antonia, Dr. Melvin, and Olale, who are behind the Power Monday program. We've had this on every Monday except when there's a public holiday, and we really, really appreciate. And not only the Power Monday, but also the other engagements that we have, including the meet and greet and even the charity events that we have. I would also like to take this chance to thank Lady Lucita, Dr. Lucita, for the poem that you shared with us, despite of. And it's about resilience, as Otino Paul Peter said, that despite of the challenges that we go through, we have to remain resilient and keep on keeping on, as some of us say. And thank you so much, Cynthia, also for introducing the speaker. And already Otino Paul Peter has mentioned the important role Falcon Insights has been doing. They've been our sponsor for this number of series for Power Monday, and it's just act as an invitation to other organizations that would like to sponsor to support Power Monday to keep on going. Because as you can see, this platform, nobody pays for it, but you come for it. And all these people coming, the equipment, the Zoom, the speakers, etc. It is all thanks to Falcon and other generous well-wishers who come in to support. So just want to thank you everyone for being there and to wish you all a good day, powerful day with the powerful Monday talk that we've had this morning. May God bless you all and thank you very much. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you, thank you. And as you mentioned, there is no human being without a challenge. I'm told it's problem, crisis, problem, crisis. There is always a problem, and that's where the opportunity is also. So we get opportunities in the problems, and those of us who keep on keeping on, resilience, that's what keeps you productive. And by the way, your value in the marketplace grows with how much or how big the problems you are able to solve as an individual. So we must keep resilience despite all. Okay, let me invite Antonia to pass a vote of to you give any announcement, and then Antonia can also close for us. Antonia. Okay, and Antonia, I don't know where you are, but I saw you in here. Maybe just to mention that our next event is a visit to Children's Home, which will be a mentorship. It will be on 6th of June. It's a Saturday, the first Saturday of June. But again, let's start putting our names for the upcoming dinner. We must confirm for the venue by end of this month. So it's good to put your name so that we have indicative numbers and we are able to secure the venue. I think with that, we can have, I'm still not seeing Antonia coming up.